What is going on, warriors of the Call of Dragons universe? Welcome back to another video. In today's episode, I'm going to show you all the information that you need to pick the right faction to fit your fighting style. There is more than meets the eye with all the 3 different factions in Call of Dragons, and you have to be very careful when you pick one. This episode is going to show you pretty much everything that you need. Make sure that you subscribe to the channel for more content, turn on the bell notification so you don't miss out. Like the video, share it with your friends, leave some comments down below. Let's get this party started. There are 3 different factions in Call of Dragons, and each one is unique in its own way. You have to be very careful when you pick one. Here is something that you should not do. You should not pick a faction based on the starting hero. That is the wrong way to go about picking the right faction for you. Let me give you a few examples. Let's say you came from Rise of Kingdoms and you want to specialize in archers in Call of Dragons. You come over here and then you see Gwanwyn. And you're like, okay, this one is archer, I'm gonna pick it. Congratulations, you made the wrong decision. This faction is geared towards cavalry. The League of Order is geared towards magic. And the Wilderburg is geared towards cavalry. So do not let the starting hero be the decider. Instead, here are the 3 things that you should consider when you pick a starting faction. Number 1 is going to be the looks of your city. Each city is going to look different for each one of these 3 factions. Some of them look great, some of them look bad. The second thing to consider is going to be the buff provided in each city. The Spring Warden have a Legion March speed of +5% and a heal speed of +5%. The League of Order, on the other hand, they have Legion Magic defense of +3% and overall gather speed of 10%. The Wilderburg have a Legion physical attack of +3% and destruction engineering of +10%. The third thing to consider when picking a faction, which is the most important one, is going to be the flying unit of each faction. This is what should help you decide which faction to pick, and it is very important. You are going to see as we go along the video. I'm going to talk about each faction separately, and you're going to see the importance of these flying units. They should be the decider when you pick a faction in this game. There are other simple things that you should also consider. However, in my opinion, the decider should be the flying troop type. Let's get into it one by one. This is actually my farm account. I'm gonna make some small changes just so that you can see the differences between the cities in this game. For a very long time, I have wanted to switch my farm account into the Spring Warden, mainly because I want to use the flying cavalry troop type. So right now, I'm gonna switch the factions so that you see the different cities in the game. Just remember, it's gonna cost you 10,000 gems to switch from one faction to the next, so you have to be very careful. When you start out to play in the game, they are gonna give you 1 free switching items, and that's what I'm gonna use. When you switch factions, it's gonna show you the different troop types that you're gonna switch to. This is what the troop type look like if I wanna switch from magic to the Spring Warden. Now, if I want to switch to the Wilderburg as well, this is what the troops look like. So let's go ahead and switch to the Spring Warden faction. My main account is the League of Order. However, for this video, I'm going to switch my farm account to the Spring Warden so we see the differences. Here we go. Gonna hit next, and this is the information that shows up. Here we go, guys. Hit the switch. Now it wants me to reposition some buildings. Gonna put this one over here. Just hit everything and put them in different places. And we should be good to go. What is this building here? I have no clue. I think it's all good. Gonna hit next. When I hit confirm, my city is gonna switch. I'm doing this for the purpose of this video. We're gonna see the differences between the Spring Warden and the League of Order. These are the two most common factions in the game picked by everybody else. So this is what the city looks like for the Spring Warden. Let us begin by taking a look at the Spring Warden faction. This is what your city is gonna look like. It kinda looks great. This is what the building will look like in the city. You will also get a specific background music dedicated to this Spring Warden. One thing to keep in mind is that all these buildings will take the same amount of time to complete when compared to all the other factions. There is no advantage in picking one, so they're all gonna be the same. They'll take the same amount of time. Remember how I said before that the deciding factor for you to pick a faction should be the flying troop type. And now you're gonna see why. In Spring Warden, the flying troop type is gonna be the Forest Eagles. The Forest Eagles are classified as cavalry. They have a good march speed. They have an okay physical attack. As of right now, there is no flying cavalry hero to lead these flying eagles into battle. You will be at a disadvantage when you fight your enemies in the open field. Since the flying troop type for each faction is very important, it means you will have 2 training camps in your city designated to the troop type. So here we have the flying cavalry, and then here we have the ground cavalry. So if you like to play with cavalry, the Spring Warden is your faction. You're gonna have 2 training camps dedicated to cavalry. Unfortunately, there are only 2 cavalry heroes in the game as of right now. You know what this means? It means you're going to have so many cavalry troops in your city that you won't be able to use. Since we only have 2 cavalry heroes in the game, you are gonna run out of stamina, and your city is gonna be filled with a bunch of cavalry troops that you cannot use in the open field. And since we don't have like a flying commander dedicated to guiding these Forest Eagles in battle, you're gonna have to fight at a disadvantage in the open field. You're gonna use Atheas, who is not meant for your flying troops, and you're gonna use Craig, who is an archer flying commander, not meant for the flying eagles. You're gonna be at a disadvantage when you fight other flying troops. This is the reason why I consider the Spring Warden faction as the weakest among all the 3 factions in the game. If you are starting out, I don't recommend going for this faction if you want to be relevant in the open field. Now you can mitigate all of that by training a lot of this troop type in the open field. Like you can train a lot of long-lived trends to help you out in the open field. This one fight with the magic troops in the game. But your cavalry troops are going to suffer a lot. There are not many cavalry heroes in the game. The one good advantage you get from this faction is that you're gonna have the chance to unlock Guanwin pretty fast, and you will be able to work on her pretty fast. She will be the fastest hero that you awaken in this faction. Unfortunately, you will not be relevant in the open field. The Spring Warden is gonna be very good in the future when the game developers introduce a flying cavalry hero and then they add more flying cavalry commanders in the game. You will be able to fight with different styles using your cavalry, which is gonna be awesome. I really want to try out these cavalry troops that fight in a near distance. They are not melee units. They fight in near and they shoot from afar. So I really want to see how this one works. But for right now, this faction is at a disadvantage in terms of open field fights. If you like a good looking city, go for it. If you want to awaken Guanwin as fast as possible, go for it. Other than that, you're not going to be very strong in the open field. We are back on my main account, and now we are going to take a look at the League of Order. This is the faction that I picked from the beginning. Overall, this is what the city looks like. It looks great. You're also going to have kind of a different background music. The buildings look different from the Spring Warden. However, they all take the same amount of time to complete. There is no advantage in picking a faction based on the building. If you want to be relevant in the open field, like if you really want to dominate the open field and get a lot of merits, this is the faction for you. For starters, you're gonna get 2 training camps dedicated to magic troop types in the game. Now Call of Dragons has like 4 magic heroes in the game right now. We have Lilia, who is the best hero for fighting in the open field. All the magic troop types kind of do area of effect damage, which is awesome. We have Alwyn over here, who is magic. We have Atheus, who is a flying magic commander to guide the Celestials in the open field, especially if you want to fight from the sky and have a different type of fighting style. You have Walder over here, who can do area of effect damage. This is what makes the magic faction relevant in the open field. On top of that, you're not going to suffer with stamina issues. You will have 2 training camps dedicated to the magic, and you are going to have a lot of magic troops to fight with. This is the statistics for the Celestials. It's different from the Flying Eagles. Each troop type is different. When they introduce a flying cavalry commander, then the story will change a little bit. As of right now, this is the go-to faction if you want to be relevant in the open field. The 2 other important things to consider when selecting the League of Order are as follows. For starters, your starting hero is going to be Walder, which means you are going to awaken him before everybody else. When you complete missions in the game is going to give you some hero tokens for this hero. But like I said before, don't pick a faction just because of the starting hero. Pick a faction because of the flying troop type. The second advantage of the League of Order is that you will get a 10% gathering speed. This is excellent for a new account in Call of Dragons. If you are creating a farm account, you should start over here. If you are creating an account for fighting your enemies in the open field, this is the one to go for. Magic dominates the open field, and there are 2 training camps for the magic. You are gonna have a lot of troops. Let's check out the Wildeburg faction in Call of Dragons. What is so great about this faction? Unfortunately, I don't have any account dedicated to the Wildeburg, therefore I'm just gonna use one of my teammates as a reference point. This is what your city is gonna look like if you pick the Wildeburg faction. Again, all the buildings will take the same amount of time to complete. There is no advantage. So this is what your buildings are gonna look like in this Wildeburg faction. The Wildeburg faction can be classified as the Archer faction of Call of Dragons. You are gonna have 2 training camps dedicated to Archer troops in the game. You have the Wyvern Riders, who are flying archers, and then you're also gonna have the Spearmen, who are archers who fight on the ground. If you want to fight the archer style, this is for you. When they add more archer heroes in the future, this is something to pick. The good thing with this faction is that there is a flying archer commander called Craig. You can use Craig with the Wyvern Riders. Now you can fight with archers using 2 styles. You can fight with archers on the ground. You can fight with archers up in the sky. This faction is 1 step above the Spring Warden because of this reason. You have 3 archer heroes in the game. One of them is a flying hero. You also have 2 training camps dedicated to archers. You are gonna have a lot of archer troops to use in the open field. Unlike the Spring Warden faction, which has cavalry troop types and you only have 2 cavalry heroes in the game, you're gonna be at a massive disadvantage with the Spring Warden. When we go to the commander area, we have Atheus here for leading the Celestial from the League of Order. We have Craig here, flying marksman, for leading the Wyvern Riders from the Wildeburg faction. When it comes to the Spring Warden, there is no hero here to lead the Spring Warden flying units into battle. There is no hero for leading the Flying Eagles. You're gonna be at a disadvantage in the open field. Another good thing about the Wildeburg faction is that you get some buff as well from the city. Let's see what it says. You're gonna get a Legion physical attack of plus 3%. Now this is gonna be excellent for the archer troops that you have in this faction. We all know the dangerous nature of the archer troops in the game, and you're getting a plus 3% physical attack from here, which is great. When it comes to the magic faction, which is the faction that I believe you should pick at the beginning, you get a Legion magic defense of plus 3% and overall gather speed of 10%. And then when it comes to the Spring Warden, you have a Legion march speed of plus 5% and you have a heal speed of plus 5% as well. When I started this video, I remember saying that you shouldn't let the starting hero be the reason you pick a particular faction. Let's say you came from Rise of Kingdoms and you want to specialize in archers. You see Guanwin and then you're like, okay, I'm going to pick Spring Warden because of Guanwin. Congratulations, you have failed. The Spring Warden is dedicated to cavalry. The League of Order, dedicated to magic. The Wilderbug, dedicated to archers. These are some of the things that you should consider when picking a fighting style to fit your needs. And that's it for the video, guys. Let me know what you think down below. Until then, I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Peace out.